Lonely rancher found a young woman digging for roots in the dust. What he left her with. The western deserts of the planet Eridon 4 stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Endless plains of dust, cracked clay, and dry windstorms that stripped flesh if one lingered too long outside shelter. Colonists had once dreamed of turning this world into fertile farmland. They brought terraforming rigs, genetically engineered crops, and whole families in transport ships. But the companies abandoned them decades ago when profits ran dry. The settlers remained were a stubborn breed, tough, proud, and mostly alone. One such man was Hale, a weathered rancher with more gray than brown in his hair. He lived on a spread of land no corporation had wanted, raising dust bison and keeping old machines alive with his own grease-stained hands. His closest neighbor was 80 kilometers away. For years, his only company had been the animals, the occasional trader's caravan, and the ghosts of his memories. He had grown used to solitude, but not immune to the ache of it. Nights were the worst, when the wind howled against the shutters and the stars wheeled overhead in cold silence. It was during one such evening, while checking southern water collectors, that Barren saw a movement near the dry riverbed. His first thought was raiders. Scavengers came through now and then, stealing livestock or stripping copper from abandoned outposts. His second thought was madness, because no sane person wanted to waste without water. But as he approached on a sand cycle, he saw a figure crouched in the dust, a young woman, no more than 20, clawing at the hard ground with her bare hands. The stranger. She was thin, her clothes torn, skin darkened by weeks under the merciless sun. Her hair was tangled, her lips cracked. She didn't look up until Barren killed the engine and dismounted. "What in the stars' name are you doing out here, girl?" Barren asked, his voice gruff but not unkind. The woman flinched at the sound. For a moment he thought she might run, but her body trembled with exhaustion. "Roots," she whispered, her accent strange. "I need roots that hold water." Barren glanced at the dry soil. Even weeds hadn't grown here in years. He crouched, studying her. She was desperate, but there was intelligence in her eyes. Not madness. "You'll find no water here," he said. "Come on. My place is a few clicks north. You need food, shelter, and a drink that won't kill you." She hesitated, eyes darting across the horizon as if searching for something or someone. Finally, she gave a tiny nod. Barren offered his hand, and she grasped it with surprising strength despite her frail frame. At the ranch, back at his homestead, Barren sat her by the fire and poured filtered water into a tin cup. She drank greedily, coughing halfway through. He gave her more slowly, then some dried bison meat. When color returned to her cheeks, he asked, "Name?" She hesitated again before answering. "Lyra." "Lyra what?" Her gaze dropped. "Just Lyra." Barren grunted. "Fair enough. You're lucky I found you. Another day out there, and the dust would have claimed you." For a long time, they sat in silence except for the crackle of the fire. Barren was a man of many words, but curiosity gnawed at him. "You from one of the old colonies?" he asked. "No. Run away from the cities then? Plenty of folk head out here when they've got nowhere else to go." Her lips pressed tight, and Barren knew he wouldn't get answers tonight. He decided not to press. Over the next days, Lyra helped around the ranch. She was quick with her hands, fixing fences, hauling feed, even repairing one of the broken water stills. Barren noticed how she studied everything. Like each tool and machine was a puzzle she wanted to understand. Still, he caught her at odd moments staring across the barren horizon, eyes filled with something heavy. Loss, maybe, or fear. Secrets in the dust. It was a week before Barren's suspicions came to a head. He'd ridden out at dawn to check the southern perimeter when he found tracks. Fresh, light footsteps in the dust leading away from his land. He followed them until he saw her. Lyra knelt in another dry wash, digging furiously. But this time, when Barren dismounted and approached, he saw what she unearthed, a small metallic container half buried in the clay. "Care to explain what that is?" Barren asked, folding his arms. Lyra froze, then slowly turned toward him, guilt and fear in her eyes. "It's mine," she said softly. "I had to make sure it was still here." "What's in it?" She hesitated, then pressed the container against her chest. "If I show you, you can't tell anyone." "I don't much talk to anyone anyway," Barren said dryly. She bit her lip, then opened the container. Inside was a small crystalline device, glowing faintly blue, pulsing like a heartbeat. Barren had never seen anything like it. "This world was supposed to die," Lyra whispered. "But this, it can bring it back." Barren frowned. "What are you talking about?" "It's a seed engine," she explained. "Grown by my people, designed to restore dead soil. Given time, it could make this desert bloom again." Barren stared, torn between disbelief and awe. "And you were out here digging for roots when you had that?" "I had to hide it," she said urgently. "There are others looking for it." If they find me, they'll take it and sell it. The corporations, raiders, anyone would kill for it. Her hands shook as she clutched the device. I was running when you found me. I thought if I buried it, maybe they wouldn't track me here. A choice to make. That night, Barren sat on the porch with his old rifle across his knees, staring at the stars. A part of him wanted to send her on her way. He had survived this long by keeping out of other people's battles. But another part, the one that remembered the dream of Eridon IV settlers, stirred with something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Lyra joined him, wrapping a blanket around her thin shoulders. You don't have to help me, she said quietly. I know it's dangerous. Girl, I've been living in this dust half my life, Barren said. If what you got can make it green again, I reckon it's worth a little danger. She looked at him, eyes shining. Then we have to plant it soon. The longer it stays dormant, the weaker it gets. Raiders in the night. The danger came sooner than either expected. 2 nights later, Barren woke to the sound of engines, low, growling, coming from the east. He cursed under his breath and grabbed his rifle. Through the dust clouds, headlights cut across the plain. 3 vehicles, armored and bristling with weapons. Raiders. They found me, Lyra whispered, clutching the seat engine. Barren's jaw tightened. Into the cellar. Now. She hesitated. But... Go, he barked. Lyra vanished into the house as Barren positioned himself by the barricade. The raiders circled, engines roaring. Then a voice boomed through a loudspeaker. Old man, we know what she carries. Hand over the girl and the device, and maybe we'll let you live. Barren spat in the dust. You boys picked the wrong ranch. Gunfire erupted, shredding the fence. Barren fired back, dropping one raider from his vehicle. But there were too many. The ranch walls shook under their assault. In the cellar, Lyra trembled. She could hear the chaos above, the shouting, the gunfire. Her heart screamed to run, but another voice whispered what Barren had given her. Trust, shelter, a chance. She couldn't abandon him. She climbed back up, seat engine clutch tight. When Barren saw her in the doorway, his eyes blazed. I told you to stay hidden. They won't stop, she said, voice steady. But if I activate the seat engine now, it will release a Bloomfield. It could drive them back. Bloomfield. Watch. She pressed her hand to the crystal. It flared brighter and brighter until the night exploded with blue-green light. Vines erupted from the soil, twisting, writhing, growing at impossible speed. Grass spread across the dust, flowers bursting open in radiant color. The raiders screamed as their vehicles were ensnared, engines choking on roots and tendrils. One by one, the machines stalled and toppled, swallowed by living earth. When silence fell, the desert around Barren's ranch was no longer barren. It was alive. Lush grass rippling under starlight, blossoms glowing faintly in the dark. What he left her with. The raiders fled on foot, vanishing into the horizon. Barren lowered his rifle, staring at the miracle around him. For the first time in decades, the air smelled sweet. Lyra collapsed to her knees, exhausted. The seed engine dimmed, its work begun but not finished. It will spread, she whispered. Over years, maybe decades. The world will live again. Barren helped her to her feet. Looks like you've given this planet a future. No, she said softly. You did. You gave me a chance to keep it safe long enough. For a long moment, Barren looked at her, the girl who had come from nowhere, carrying hope in her hands. A girl who might change everything. You can stay here, he said at last. This land's big enough for 2. Maybe more once the green spreads. Lyra smiled, tears glinting in her eyes. And so, the lonely rancher was lonely no more. Together, they tended the first living oasis of Eridon IV, guarding it against those who would destroy it. Barren had given her food, shelter, and protection, but what he truly left her with was a place to belong, and the chance to heal a broken world.